Hello, myself Mandar from Protean CRA. I am welcoming you to this edition of NPS पे चर्चा कहे सुने और करे. As the largest central record keeping agency, Protean has always been in continuous engagement with the stakeholders of NPS through various digital mediums like NPS educational videos, podcasts, social media campaigns, Instagram, etc. As a part of this, we have recently initiated a series of chat show programs where we invite industry leaders to get their views on topics of immense significance. National pension system has been implemented and being operational since past 15 years with a subscriber base of more than 6 crore and asset under management, that is AUM, of more than rupees 8 lakh crore. NPS has been adopted by more than 10,000 companies for their employees. As we enter into Amrit Kal, the government has set a vision to attain certain common development goals in coming 25 years. The focus will be on all-inclusive development and reaching to the last mile. This can be achieved only through adequate social protection and security for all the citizens of India. India being the fastest growing economies, today we have a very young working age population. While it is an advantage, all of them will grow old at some stage. Accordingly, it is very necessary to provide income security to this generation. Further, continuously increasing longevity due to medical advancement also necessitates income security for a long period after retirement. This means adequate wealth creation that will easily last for a long period of time. Old age income security therefore becomes one of the core elements of economic growth, and to achieve this we have to maximize pension penetration. Today we have an eminent guest, Mr. Ranbheer Dhariwal, CEO, Max Life Pension Fund Management Ltd, who is associated with pension industry for a long time and has a vast experience in pension distribution. He is joined by Mr. Amit Sinha, Group Head Social Security and Welfare, Protean eGov Technologies Ltd, who is instrumental in successful implementation of NPS. Today's discussion will primarily pivot around how to maximize NPS penetration and the challenges which are associated with distribution. Welcome Mr. Sinha and Mr. Ranbheer. Now I request Mr. Sinha to take the discussion forward.
Thank you, Mandar. Welcome, Ranbheer, on this discussion.
Thanks, Amit.
And in this series of discussion, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to educate the investors on different aspects of NPS, financial planning, retirement, what is important. But in this specific discussion, we would focus more on these thousands of people who are there in banks, mutual fund, insurance industry, who are going to be the last leg foot soldiers selling NPS. So maybe some of these conversations is where I want to go more specific on this. But before I go, it becomes very important that you have spent a considerable time on the other side of NPS, selling NVT, and now that you are wearing two hats, one selling NPS as a product and two managing NPS also as a new fund management company. How do you look NPS as a product? Being essentially more from a insurance background, if I would say more to my viewers here.
So, in my mind, there's no other product like NPS, especially spending after 2 decades in the financial industry and selling various financial products. If I look at NPS, in my view, it's a breakthrough product. However, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know, but not many people have maybe understood the product. Maybe not many people are talking about the product. And whenever we do any kind of research, we see people still associating their retirement with gold, real estate, FDs. So these are the top of the mind products that comes to their mind when we talk about what do you plan for your retirement, and this shows very beautifully in the research that we did, a-vis, on the retirement study. So the product is excellent. The product, I think the only product which I can confidently say is an EEE product. Even for a certain bracket of higher income, it will still be a TEE product, which is still better at any point of time. The product allows to have the flexibility which not many people understand. This product has flexibility where you can withdraw a portion of your amount. this also has a locked-in annuities in it, which forces our Indian customers, we are not as disciplined. So if there is any discipline put around, that is good for the customer. So, some portion going into annuities which gives you a regular income. So this takes care of the entire end-to-end life cycle in my view. So NPS as a product, I would, if you ask me my star rating, I'd give a 5-star on 5-star. That's what I would say about NPS.
So thank you, Ranbheer. I think what viewers understood what Ranbheer was trying to tell was this product has 2-3 things, mixed into this. The first part is that there is a security to the product which comes from the various investment pattern what it is built. Secondly, on the last mile, there is an annuity build, and as most of us are not financially aware, a built-in annuity helps people to give the necessary protection. And third, you told about exempt. I just wanted to tell the investors, like PPF, where you invest, you get a tax benefit when you are investing, you get a tax benefit during the duration of your investment, and you get a tax benefit when you are taking out. So for a certain set of investors, as you called out, is a triple E product. For some who are on the higher income class, maybe they are the initial part they are paying tax, but the next two part, when it is getting invested, they are E and E. So there is an inherent tax benefit, there is a stability in the product. So that brings to us to the second question which I have is, if there are so many benefits in the product and you qualified it as a 5-star product, what do you think that the response, if I have to use the word muted or lukewarm, we have seen about the last mile field people in terms of selling NPS with let us say other product in the financial sector. Why is the last mile not doing it, and what can we do to enable the last mile to create this a product which they should be taking to each of their customers whom potentially they can reach?
Good question, Amit. And as you rightly said, the last mile has to be the one who should be distributing, and if it's a beautiful product, why less take up? The simple answer to that is, I think there are less sellers, and why there are less sellers is something that we all need to understand. See, when a financial advisor, they go and they meet their prospective customers, they do a proper need analysis, saying that what is the income of the customer, what life stage you are at, what are your goals, and appropriately they suggest a product which is suitable for the customer, and also they keep in mind what is suitable for them. Because at the end of the day, the distribution would look at, if I am putting in an effort to a return, what is the ratio that I am making? So somewhere I believe NPS does not meet that requirement for them. There are many products, which would have a better income capability for the advisors, may not be as best fit for the customers. At that point of time, looking at, let's say, if retirement is the requirement of a customer and NPS is not suggested, and maybe some other product I would not like to name, maybe the fitment of the product is right because it is catering to the retirement needs of the customer. However, may not be the best fit for the customer because the customer is also not aware of NPS, and the distributor also not positioning about the NPS simply because of the financials that the customer has. That is one aspect which is a very important motivating factor for any distributor. Anybody who runs a shop would like to earn some money at the end of the day. The second more important factor, which I believe more than distribution, is awareness. When I speak to a lot of people who have been investing into NPS, they don't understand the product that well. So forget about a person who have not even thought about investing into NPS. So the awareness of the product, I still believe, has not taken up to the extent that we would have all loved to, see that kind of awareness. And that is one factor. The distribution is also okay to not position NPS. So if there is an awareness between the customers, and they're informed about this product, through other sources, then there will always be a demand from that particular financial advisor saying that, boss, is there? And this advisors then will start seeing NPS is becoming more popular and people are asking for it proactively. And that then leaves with less choice of neglecting that product with that financial advisor or the last mile distributor that we are talking about. So if I have to sum this up, uh, two reasons which I clearly see, which I mentioned. One, I think there has to be more money in for the distributor for them to proactively start selling it. And second, I think more and more people should be aware that there is a product that exists like NPS, which can take care of their retirement needs. I think these are the two factors because of which I believe, although there has been considerable, upward trends that we are seeing, there are people asking about this product now. But I still believe we have a long way to go. Through all our research studies, we see if gold continues to be the top 3 recall of product for retirement, and we as Indians, we have such a high sentimental value for gold, and we know we'll never sell gold during our retirement. So this shows that we still have a long way to go when it comes to NPS awarenesses.
So thank you, Ranbheer. So this is where I am addressing the distributor community at large, that if I look at it, there are two kinds of products, a pull and a push product. So all the other financial products are essentially a push product, and that is where maybe you didn't use the word, the distribution fees plays a big role, that there is a certain cost to reach a customer, acquire the customer. NPS was always looked at as a more of a pull product. Now, unfortunately, today it lies somewhere between the push and pull. And to create, now it comes to the second point, to make it a pull product, the awareness piece becomes very important. So we at Protean here are doing a lot of education, investor education. We have our town halls, reaching out corporate. At the other end, we have our digital assets like Instagram, YouTube channel. We have more than 150 videos there. And we are now trying to co-create this kind of discussions with various partners also to create the awareness. And as you rightly called out, if this awareness is created, the people will ask about the this product. Then the distributors will definitely find it interesting to sell the product.
Absolutely. I thoroughly believe, and the more time that I've spent in the market and the more I visit the field, I still believe awareness is one issue that all of us need to tackle, and with some initiatives like our company does, your organization does, many other of our colleagues are doing, the regulator is doing. I think these are all progressive steps that we are taking, and we are all taking these steps in the right direction. We need to continue with these efforts so that we start seeing the demand coming directly from the consumer, so that all of us are then forced to cater to those demands. This becomes a full product in itself. So that's what.
So, Ranbheer, moving to the next question, Max Pension is the latest entity to get a license to be a fund manager. You have been operational for the last couple of months. You are also the one who also very quickly got a license to distribute the pension product also as a POP. And Max, as an insurance company, is one of the oldest and most established insurance player with a very large distributor network and direct selling agent, and of course large team of people, their staff on the force. So how do you think you are going to leverage on this parentage and the scale you have on the ground to take NPS to the next level?
So, couple of things that we are doing, and like you said that we are the new kid on the block and we are the latest entrant. So you would like to do things little differently. What we have seen and what we've been observing, that this space was on the NPS space was getting too crowded on the tax. There was every other person who was talking about how NPS is more tax efficient. Why should you invest because of tax? That's where we have refrained ourselves from. We don't want to be another company who's talking about NPS is equal to tax benefit. So one key differential thing that we're going to do, we're going to go to a narrative of retirement. NPS is equal to retirement. I think somewhere that is getting lost with tax taking precedence over the retirement. So our efforts will be on creating more awareness, more education around retirement, and some of the steps that we have taken through our iris study, where, which was well received by everybody in the industry. So we would like to use such platforms to create more awareness on the retirement side and create a narrative around our retirement readiness and how NPS can be the product which helps you create this retirement portfolio for you. Second, what we would also like to position is, which I haven't seen much talk on or much progress on, that the tier 2 portion of NPS. Now, tier 2 is, in my view, if I was investing anywhere else as a regular investor, monthly deductions, I would want to move that money instantly to my tier 2 account because of the charge structure, because of the transparency, because of the product, how beautifully it is designed. So that is another area that we would want to work, that NPS is not just your retirement, but it can also help you create your wealth. So these are the two narratives that we will be focusing on very, very largely. That is one very clear strategy that we are adopting. And of course, you mentioned that we are the fourth largest insurance company in India, first to get the license. So what we also believe is that another important aspect, according to me, is training. So you may have the largest team force, but if they are not trained, they are not aware of the product, then there's no point of having lakhs and lakhs of people with you distributing some other product. So as an organization, we are investing a lot on the training side. So that is another differentiator that we are doing. We have a dedicated training person on the rolls right from day one, whose job is only to go and actually train the distributor and excite them to see NPS differently. So those are the two aspects that we're doing. And obviously we have a large distributor, we are engaging with distribution channels. We want them to partner with us, become the agents, can become the agents, advisors with us and start distributing. But essentially two important things that we are going to focus on, is NPS is equal to retirement and wealth creation. That's what we are going to be very, very strongly focusing on. And training for our internal. When we say that awareness within the customers is an issue, I think awareness within our own sales and our own employees is also an issue. So if we don't tackle the in-house problem first, we can't complain about the external world. So that's where our primary focus is. So that's our plan in a nutshell, without giving out too much of.
I understand, Ranbheer. So as you called out, tier 2 account, and I personally, having spent considerable time in the pension industry, I think tier 2 is one of the most underrated product is concerned. And I tell my colleagues, it is a Audi available at the price of a Honda City.
Absolutely. I would say Maruti.
Maybe Maruti, yeah. So, I mean, that is the where it stands. And you touched a very important aspect, that as we start earning, it is not the tax part which is important. It is not the saving part which is important. The wealth creation piece is equally important. Absolutely. And that is one aspect which we need to talk about. So as we move to the next question, there I am touching some of the aspect on distribution piece you called out, was that in the last 2 years of COVID pandemic, there were a lot of initiatives taken by the regulator, and we were part of the whole exercise where we enabled a lot of processes, whether it is a onboarding of the customer engagement with the system, which has been made much less frictionless. But there are still certain things which has to happen. For example, you want to open an account in NPS. So currently there is a process where account opening is completely digital. Now there are still processes on which you need interventions of the channel partner, or if you are working with a corporate or a government, there are interventions from the officers which need to do. Thirdly, when you are getting out of the system, you are buying an annuity, there is a paper-based process currently. So while at Protean we have done a lot of things in terms of this digitization, but taking your example again, correlating from your insurance industry, do you think there are use cases where these can be still made better, which can help both the subscriber who is engaging with the system and the distributor, because at the end of the process, a distributor has a finite amount of time in which he wants to close the deal with the customer. So the customer inertia to do something because it is taking time, and the distributor's paucity of time to complete the deal. How do we take care of this in the next stage of digitization, which should happen in the pension space, NPS space in particular?
Absolutely, digital is the way to go, like all of us, and I've been personally involved in digitization, starting up a digital distribution, in my previous roles, and from that day till today, we all say that future is digital, so it has to get more digitized. Whatever I think Protean has done, those are welcome, changes, and that has eased to some extent. In my personal opinion, I still believe there is still a lot of customer inertia. Although it is digitally available, on our website or on your phone, but the time taken to complete the transaction is the most important factor. So if that time taken can be reduced from currently 12 minutes, we are all experienced, so we say 8 minutes, 7 minutes, but a person who's doing it for the first time, may be very careful in filling up and may want to understand, may take about 12 to 15 minutes. Now 12 to 15 minutes of attention span is a very large, given the kind of target audience that we have. If we are targeting 30, 35-year-old person who have so many distractions, at the same time for 15 minutes when you're looking at the phone, you have so many messages, so many other, prompts coming in, you tend to get distracted, and then those become your priority, and they say, okay, we'll push it to the next time. So in my view, we need to further simplify the entry. This is a product, this is a social security product in my, so the entry has to be much more simplified. I think there are lots of questions that can easily be done away with. They may not be required. We can have, few question based and few OTP authentications, and later on during the journey, we can keep enriching the customer base. Any which way, this customer base is not used for any cross-selling purpose. So do we need to really ask those many questions is another question that we need to look at. So I think overall step needs to be taken. While digitization is one aspect, shortening the journey is another aspect. Third is we should be only limiting it to the relevant information that is actually needed for me to open my PRAN, rather than asking, really long, lengthy questions or too many questions, which would take about 10, 15 days, and, I may lose my interest. So I think we still have a long way to go, in this space. Whatever we have done so far, they are steps in the right direction. I think this is just the beginning of the journey, and I'm sure more changes, more evolution will come in. I gave a classic example of Shakti Samanta shooting a song in one click, and now when you see, and that was shot in one room. And from there, if you see the current one shot by Akhtar, where you had about 200 people dancing and the entire song was sung, shot in one frame. So that's the evolution. It has taken almost 40 years, to reach this phase. I'm sure with us also it will take some more time, but we will reach the direction that we want to reach.
So interesting perspective, Ranbheer. So NPS has been 15 years a work in process, and for the private sector it has been less than 10 years. So this is something they call it, birbal ki khichdi. It takes a little time to get prepared and it is being served to people. So as the product evolves, there would be certain things happening. A lot of evolution has happened in the NPS journey on the process piece. With the regulator, and we all work with the regulator, and we have a very effective and regulator who listens to the market, who wants to do things. So what are one or two things we think as a stakeholder in NPS who want to make a social security asset in the country, whether as a fund manager, whether as a central tech architecture, one or two points you think we should take to the regulator at this stage where if I have to use the word, the plumbing pieces have been done in a larger way. What are the other things we should talk to the regulator nudge them towards in terms of policy making, according to you?
So, as you rightly said, we have a very progressive regulator, and that's an essential part of building any industry. And the journey that we have seen so far has been really, really good. And we have taken all kind of right measures, whether it is enhancing the charges, making it more distribution friendly as compared to what it was earlier, or some policy changes that have come in. I think all the steps have been taken in the right direction. I think now there is a time for us to maybe, along with the regulator, work together and see how can we simplify things further. I'll again come back to my, previous point here. I have seen simplicity actually helps you scale up, to masses. And but I can't quote an example, but there was a process in our previous organization where if a customer would come in, it would take about 2 to 3 weeks for us to respond to a customer. But we changed, we introduced technology, we introduced data analytics, we changed the process, we shortened the requisite information that are needed, and the entire duration from 2 to 3 weeks became 3 seconds. And when it became 3 seconds, the growth that it got was exponential, because it catered to 2 things. One, for a distributor, it became extremely easy, simple for them to sell. So my earlier point where my effort to return, can be easily then quantified, saying that it's a 2 minutes, 2 seconds job for me to do this, or 3 seconds job for me to do, and that's a return. So in anybody's mind, this is not taking up too much of the time. So that problem, is solved for. And from a customer perspective, the attention span, which is an important aspect again, in my view. I have seen so many people at our level have not opened their NPS account because, the forms when they look at it, the requirements when they look at it, so it's too lengthy. When you send out a link, I don't have the time. So how can we make it simplified for them? I think the time has now come, where we work towards this journey, where we look at more simplification of the process than the product. The product is, I think, there, like I said, 5-star from my side. And there will be always some complaints that anybody would have, but in my mind it's a 5-star product. Process is one thing where I think all of us can work together and see how we can make it simpler for the distributor as well as for the person who wants to enroll. If that area is taken care of, I think we can do wonders with this product. So that would be,
your remark.
Yeah.
So what, Ranbheer, if I understand, and this is where I look at the distributor community, that product is good, but we need to work more on the process piece, and we will take specific use cases to the regulator to work. But at the same time, I would take this occasion to tell all the distributors that please visit the NPS digital assets we have created. Unhyphenated, unadulterated informations are available there, which will not only help you to consume the product yourself. My first step is that everybody who is looking at financial planning, even selling financial products, should have an NPS account of their own. We have more than 6 million people who have downloaded our mobile apps. Every 100 account which is getting open in NPS, in the Protean architecture, 95 of them are digital account. So the digital awareness has increased. People are looking at NPS. We need to take it to the next level of engagement. And one of the things where I would like to talk to the regulator and maybe with all of you is that can some amount of soft compulsion can be built, that as you rightly called out, that the moment my salary account get opened, a sumo to pension account is started opening with that, instead of asking anything. Now when I invest in this pension account, when I start doing can happen. But one account just with a salary account can be tagged. So these are some of these incremental pieces which can grow the number, and then every time it just nudges you that I have my salary account and I can see my pension account being blank. And there can be various nudges created that I can start it's like in a bank account you have those banking account and you have those subordinate accounts where you keep on shifting money from this account to that account. So those are some of the aspects we look at it and which can make life very easy for people to invest.
Absolutely.
So I think we are at interesting times at the highest level in the government. Other people want ease of business, digitization, pension society. So it's a very critical point where we are standing to take the NPS as a retirement and, as you rightly called out, wealth creation to the next level. Thank you, Ranbheer.
Thank you, sir, for this enriching discussion. I am sure this would provide valuable inputs to the financial advisors and distributors on the distribution aspects of NPS. That is, with respect to current challenges in NPS distribution and how to overcome those challenges to increase NPS penetration to the last mile. These insights would definitely help them to put forth NPS as one of the best retirement product in the market to their clients. That's all in this chat show. Please like this video and do not forget to subscribe and like our channel. Press bell icon to receive regular updates on NPS. Thank you.